I thought it would be good to give a spotlight of some of the amazing guests and insights that have been shared on the Scale Your Sales podcast throughout 2020. Now, for those of you that don't know me, I am Janice B Gordon, the customer growth expert and founder of Scale Your Sales podcast. Now, my clients are mid-cap companies that love to solve client problems, but hate existing customer revenue flatlining or new incumbents beating them to the deals. We all hate that. Now, I help solve this problem of flatlining revenues through the Scale Your Sales framework that connects leading edge capabilities to secure, retain, and grow key client relationships and long-term value and partnerships. Now, unfortunately, I can't mention all of the 50 guests on this Scale Your Sales podcast review session. However, I would love to spotlight some of those episodes that received the highest reviews and mention a few of my favourite guests' memorable lessons. Now, first, I'd like to thank you, the viewers that have tuned in and listened on iTunes or Spotify, Stitcher, and other platforms. Or you may have watched the video version on my YouTube channel, which you can find when you search my name, Janice B Gordon, and YouTube. Now, it's been a memorable year. A year like no others, and even I have had to adapt to these changing circumstances. So first, I'd like to mention the 5 February pre-recorded guests that had their episodes held back and were published around September time. It was really important for us to focus on relevant conversations, and the most impactful one was COVID. So we had to cover those subjects. However, episode 51 with Kirsty Jones in September talked about it being disrespectful to ask buyers questions that are already on the internet. Kirsty builds customer health scorecards to help SaaS startups instill customer success that starts from day one. People think she says this is a post-sale activity. It is not. How you treat customers and what they expect from you and the level of trust, all of this starts with the first prospecting call. This establishes how your company and your culture operates, said Kirsty. Episode 50, Lee Ashton, why growth mindset makes the difference. So she talks about this area, and that salespeople that naturally have a growth mindset account for about 10%, but they are the top performers of every company. Lee, rather than saying, I can't do that, she says, say, I can't do that yet. And this keeps you thinking of all of the angles, finding another way through. Episode 52, Bev Hancock, she talks about shifting the trust needle to make it about them. The companies who are going for good to great are the companies who are focusing on loyalty and retention. It is just as easy to keep your customers. In fact, it's easier to make them feel a part of your family. You've got to build trusted relationships. Your clients eventually see the conversation no longer as a sales call, but about how are we going to do this together. Episode 48, Colleen Stanley demonstrates empathy with emotional intelligence for sales leadership, her specialist area. Everyone is looking down at their smartphones, says Colleen. Empathy is a paying attention skill, which means you've got to look up and look around and be perfectly present. Episode 49, Tom Williams, why buyer-centric selling is how modern sellers engage and collaborate with buyers. Tom is big on preparation for sales calls. It comes across that you're ready, you're confident, and you have better questions, he says. Now, no sports teams goes and plays a game without preparation. Surgeons, pilots, they all have checklists. Sales must be no different. So then we had episode 60, David Pranier. Now, he is the author of Sell the Way You Buy. And he says salespeople get the idea of selling value all wrong. Emotion is the quickest way to get that value to create rapport. And emotions help the customer understand how they benefit from working with you. Episode 55, Liz J. Simpson. Who better understands their buyers will accelerate results. Digital, she says, gives a direct line to your buyer, and it gives you a way of building your thought leadership. When you have the sales foundation and then layer on digital strategy, it accelerates results. I love that Liz is building the big money movement. This focuses on shattering the revenue disparity facing women in business. Now, Jill Comrath is a hero of mine and many other women in sales because she has really pushed the boundaries in this area. So episode 53 is Jill Comrath, why sales leaders must learn to lean back. Some top leaders who really are doing well, she says, are leaders that focus on their people. The top leaders have loyalty and connection with their people. Their people know that they are being supported throughout these tough times as well as in the good times. Episode 40, Raki Vora, she's really passionate about retaining women in sales. Women in sales has barely increased in the last decade. Rocky quotes gender bias in sales with only 1 in 5 women VP in sales. Now, there's generally some issues that women in sales are experiencing in what is a male-dominated industry still. Rocky talks about the importance of mentors and developing your network. And episode 31, Adrian Swinsko, how COVID exposes what excellent customer experience is and its impact on the sales organization. Now, there's a difference between customer experience and the customer's experience. It is a country mile, says Adrian. Customer experience could be a thing that's done in an organization, while the customer's experience has got nothing to do with the organization, he says. It's about what customers experience when they deal with the brand, with the business. Now, sales is an intrinsic part of the whole customer journey with a particular brand, and therefore it's a massive part of what happens that makes up the customer's experience. This is why there's a real connection between sales and customer experience. Episode 21, Sam Robinson. Now, he talks about social selling driving sales. He says that their program at Sage helps salespeople to see that customer selling is a route to market. Sellers run away from feedback, but feedback is an essential information. And this feeds the 3 things salespeople must get in balance: skill set, mindset, and structure. Episode 16, Eleanor Schultz. Trusted relationship is the differentiator for selling well. You must build trust up front, she says, grooming a professional, personal relationship and understanding what is important to the customer first. Eleanor says this is that if there is another preferred partner that is the buyer's considering, so you don't get it, make sure that you say that you're the backup. Make sure that you sell them a smaller service up front to prove you deliver outstanding service, because the first choice doesn't always work out. This last popular spotlight episode really got double the amount of original downloads, and this is episode 18 with Deb Colvert, who talks about how leaders need to stand up and be counted and make extraordinary things happen. Now, her book, Stop Selling, Start Leading. She's also the founder of the Sales Expert channel, which I'm lucky enough to be invited to, so I'm joining that 2021. She's also president of People First Productivity Solutions. Now, Deb Colvert is also the author of Discover Questions, great questions to turn on the buyer's euphoria and open up the possibilities of having a different kind of conversation that is engaging and bonding and becomes a game changer and a competitive advantage. So thank you, Deb Colbert, for your great insights and for the listeners. Scale Your Sales Weekly podcast in October achieved a listing of number 8 of 42 of the best podcasts that all sales professionals should view in 2020, but you can view it in 2021 as well. Now, I'm dedicated to platforming sales experts to help you on your journey to scale your sales. It's showcase for B2B executives, sales leaders, key account managers, and customer serving professionals who want engaging and lively conversation. We have lots of fun on the podcast. We talk about customer experience, strategic revenue growth on modern sales know-how. Now, I believe sales is not a function of the business. Sales is the primary outcome of all businesses and brands. And marketing is a part of the sales process rather than the other way around. What is critical is a productive business is how your customers experience your sales process and what outcomes the customer requires from that sale. The more focused you are on the customer outcome, the more productive your sales process. More of this is on scaleyoursales.co.uk. Now, there is much more insights from the guests, the 65 guests that have published on Scale Your Sales podcast, but please do catch up on episodes that you may have missed. We've got more coming through in 2018, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it if you gave us a review and a rating as well. So see you on the other side of 2020.